Thank you very much. And now, Cordelia, you are the moderator of our first section, please.
Okay, thank you. So I take over and try to make everyone keep their time, because we have a lot of very short time slots for each presentation. So I think we should see all of these presentations rather as flashlights of what we are doing right now, and a sneak preview into what's going to come for the next years. So I would like to invite our first speaker, and I hope that the rain doesn't interfere with this presentation. Dmitry Webber, please. You are talking about the Teutonic Order saints, differences between Prussia and Livonia. Please go ahead. And we started 4 minutes late. You have 4 minutes longer than planned in the plan.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'd like to say hello to you once again, and yeah, my report about saints of the Teutonic Order in this report is devoted to an overview of the difference, maybe information of the saints of the Teutonic Order in Prussia, in Livonia. First of all, I wouldn't like to focus on all the saints who were venerated in the Baltic region, but only those who were more connected to the Teutonic Order, and due to the fact that there are some similarities as well, as differences in this formation, of the veneration of the saints, of formation of the saints in these different regions. As we know, saints cults played a important role in medieval society, and for corporation, for each corporation in Middle Ages, as a patron. In the case of the order, it was of course the Virgin Mary. Therefore, I'd like to turn attention to her image, to Virgin Mary. In this connection, it may be noted that this image was popular, of course, in both lands, in Livonia and Prussia. But I think that we can say about one important difference. In Prussia, it was associated. It was connected just with the Teutonic Order. But in Livonia, veneration was also actively developed not only with order, but with Archbishop of Riga, as evidenced by the term Terra Mariana. And Bishop of Riga, Bishop Albrecht, explained that Riga and Livonia were the land of Mary, the land of the Virgin Mary, as analogy with Palestine, because this land was the land of your son. Holy Land was the land of your son, and the biblical images of Mary, the saint of war, the saint of cosmic war, are strong and often illustrated in paintings, altar pieces. For example, the sun became the symbol of Mary, the Son of Justice, as she was called in the liturgy. In this image used in liturgy in Riga, the star became another of common Mary symbol, and gave in the north and a singular relationship to the sea. For example, Stella Maria so easily became Stella Maris, the star of the sea. And this double expression was used in some songs in honor of the Virgin Mary. And Virgin Mary became as protector of the sea, which Crusaders would cross to fight in the land of Mary, for example, in Livonia. And Virgin Mary was also strong from other sides among the military orders, not only, of course, Teutonic order, but early sword order of sword of brethren, whose main patron Saint she was. And the Virgin Mary and Child were depicted on the banner, for example, of the Livonian master. And the first paragraph in the regulation of Livonian branch of the order stresses that the master had to guarantee the celebration of masses and horary prayers in honor of Virgin Mary. Thus, we can say about two main political ways in medieval Livonia. In late medieval Livonia, for example, the Church of Riga and Teutonic Order, which shared the Virgin Mary as patron. But in Prussia was another situation. In Prussia, and I would like to say that in Prussia was other saints, which other saints of order, which not sorry, which not venerated fast, almost not venerated in Livonia. For example, Saint Barbara. When it comes, for example, to saints of the order in Prussia, I'd like to say about Saint Barbara. The story of these saints comes from Yakov Varaginsky, and from Yakov Varaginsky's Legenda Aura. And with respect to the Teutonic Order, the story does not appear to have been transferred over to Ola's version. This was a Middle High German translation of the Legenda Aura, produced within the order at the end of the 13th century, likely in the region of Elblong or Elbing. The corpus begins with the feast of St. Nicholas of Myra and ends with the feast of St. Catherine of Alexandria. This is quite a strange fact, since the text was key to the literary production of order and represents one of the earliest pieces of literature associated with Prussia. And maybe it might be some reflection of her diminished status within the order during the 13th century. And the elevation, for example, of her liturgy to semi-duplex, it was tradition that developed around her relics within the order's Prussian branch, but not in Livonia. And function of her relics in a military context by the 15th century. In the 15th century. And the oldest reference to these relics in the orders can be found in so-called Hermann von Salzer Bericht über die Roteren Preußens, Außendeutsche Offenes Zentralarchiv in Vienna, and edited later by Theodor Hirsch. And this later narratives, the discovery of the relics at a nearby fort, nearby so-called Sartovice, today Sartovice, on the night of 3-4 December in 12th century 42 by a company of Teutonic Knights under under the Dietrich von Bernheim, and it was only 9 years after arrival of True Cross. And it's interesting that in this manuscript we can find other important information about diplomatic mission following the convention of Livonia, of Lithuania. In convention of Lithuania, namely the pilgrimage of Anna of Lithuania, Vitov's wife. And the entry reads that Anna visited not just the shrine of St. Barbara, but also Brandenburg, where was a shrine dedicated to St. Catherine of Alexandria, and the Cathedral of Marienwerder, today Cvitsyn, where she visited the shrine of Dorothea of Montau. And Dorothea of Montau was also Deutsche Teutonic Orders saints, but I think that in difference, for example, with other saints, Dorothea was a local saint whose cult was almost absent. For example, whose cult was almost absent in Livonia, St. Barbara. As for another saints, such as St. Catherine, St. Catherine of Alexandria, it seems she was popular not only in Prussia but also in Livonia. And for example, her image was used in some order seals in Livonian branch. And however, the orders Livonian Teutonic orders in Livonia exhibited a more regional, it could be say, more regional character in the veneration of individual not individual orders saints, because of order state in Prussia was rather homogeneous because almost all bishoprics were incorporated into order, but Livonia was not so homogenic, and there were no, in Livonia were no local saints, for example, as Dorothea of Montau in Prussia, in particularly in the south, particularly in the south of Livonia, the lands, for example, in Kurland, was concentration of patron saints patronaten of St. George, and of course it was important for order as military organization. And the concentration of patronates of St. George, one of the most popular patron saints in medieval chivalry, including those who belonged to this spiritual to the military orders, to whom Livonian branch of Teutonic order also belonged. And the veneration of, for example, Saint Anna is even connected with your standing.
Sorry, Dmitry, before you start with another saint, you're almost out of time. So maybe
sorry. Okay.
In favor of some time for questions for all of us.
If
you would like to round off.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Just one line. Okay. And at the same time, this difference. And at the same time, the more Scandinavian saints in the northern Livonia, for example, in Iceland, because these lands belong to Denmark. And moreover, the almost total absence of saints such as Saint Barbara, or, for example, Elizabeth of Thuringia in Livonia. These saints absent in Livonia, and maybe it was connected with the fact that Prussia and Livonia was connected with the fact that knights of Teutonic order in Prussia and Livonia was from different lands. For example, in Livonia from Westphalia, and in Prussia from Rhinelands. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for this overview of the saints' topography in Prussia and Livonia. Are there any questions?
Can I?
Yes,
So, I'm sorry. So, Dmitry, how can you explain the different levels of religious development in Prussia and Livonia? Prussia has its own saints, many parishes, activity of monastic orders. There is much less of this in Livonia. Why? It was the part of the Teutonic order, Livonia and Prussia, but different levels. Why?
Thank you very much for this question. I think it's connected with different history of formation of these branches. And for example, many Livonia was not homogenic, and for example, when I said about Kurland, about South Livonia, and St. George, in veneration of St. George, I'd like to show that these lands in the north, in the south of Livonia, was more Teutonic orders lands. But for example, other lands has Archbishop of Riga or Bishop of Dorpat, and in this land, in Livonia, for example, in Iceland, was early Scandinavian saints. and from one side, from other side, saints from northern Germany, saints saints who with merchants of Hansenliga came from one side, and from other side, for example, when we talk about Elizabeth of Thuringia, she was saint of she was saint in Rhinelands, and when and of course when knights from Rhinelands came to Prussia, he bring their saint, but not knights from Westphalia. Answer, am I answered on a question or not?